And if you'll stand with me, we're going to have Gene Shelburne here to lead us in our invocation.
Wherever your people cluster, Lord, we make a multitude of messes that have to be dealt with. We pollute our rivers, we smog our air, we wipe out ozone on Earth and scatter space junk in the heavens. We humans are very good, Lord, at making messes. So in today's meeting, the leaders of our city will spend megabucks to buy trucks to pick up our trash and a new scraper to bury it in the landfill. And we will run the risk of upsetting both those citizens who know what a root blower is and those who don't when they see how many dollars will be set aside today to repair this equipment to handle our city's sewage. Much of today's meeting, Lord, will be spent taking care of the messes we citizens create. But you know, Lord, that these messes are easy to deal with compared to the ones we make when we lose our tempers, unbridle our tongues, forget our manners, and treat others without respect. May all of us have cool heads and warm hearts today, Lord, so that the deliberations of this hour will help clean up our messes instead of causing bigger ones that we're sure to regret. We pray through him who came to fix the mess we're in. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. If y'all will join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag, please.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Please be seated. We get to start this meeting here today with a good announcement, and so we have Every Drop Counts, our contest winners, and I believe they've got some photos they want to show us, and so Miss City Secretary, if you'll move us into that one.
We'll invite up Ben Orr with Water and Sewer Utilities.
Hello, Mayor and Council. I'm Ben Orr. I'm the Program Manager for Water Utilities, and I'm also the Committee Chair for the Every Drop Counts right now. Since the calendar contest was reestablished in 2021, we've had 2 successful years of the Every Drop Counts calendar contest. This year we had 94 entries into the contest from various schools and age groups around the city. The committee really enjoyed getting to see and judge the pieces presented to us. It was so difficult to pick the winners as all the artwork was fantastic. I want to thank all the students, teachers, and parents who participated in the contest. I want to thank everyone who was able to come to City Council this afternoon to claim your prizes. And I want to thank our mayor and city council for allowing our organization to show our appreciation to everyone who participated in the contest. This contest really helps to spread the program's overall message of water conservation in our city. 12 top contestants were selected along with a grand prize winner. This is the first year that the newly formed Every Drop Counts committee had the poster media delivered in digital formats, along with the standard paper entries. We had several talented students create GIF entries. These have really enhanced the opportunity to utilize new and creative medias for future contests. I will first announce our first prize paper winners. Then I will announce our grand prize winner, whose art will be featured on the cover of the Every Drop Counts calendar, followed by the second and third place winners. After that, I will announce our digital GIF entry winners.
Hey, Ben, can I ask you to grab that microphone just pull it a little bit closer to you?
Sure.
That's awesome.
Is that better? Okay. As I call the names of the winners, please have them come join me at the podium. And I think we can get it up. Maybe not. Our high school first prize, Carter Esteban. Middle school first prize, Olivia Parkin. 3rd through 5th grade first prize, Brandon Carter. K through 2nd grade first prize, Lakin Williamson. Our grand prize winner, Marley Contreras. K through second prize, Abigail Price. Third prize, Emma Collins. Third through fifth, second prize, Kira Espinoza. Third prize to Ms. Jamore. Middle school, second prize, Jaron Bradley. And third prize, Braxton Willoughby. From our high schools, second prize, Faith Spencer. Third prize, Isaiah Brown. Now for our digital contest winners, the committee selected 3 contestants that were based on 3 separate categories. Shadden Meyer had our best message. Araya Guzman for best illustration. Jocelyn Kellison for best animation. The grand prize winner will receive over $400 worth of merchandise, including Wonderland Park passes, Sod Poodles merchandise, Pack-a-Sack, Toot and Totem gift cards, dining cards, and family packages provided by Synergy. Other prizes include Don Harrington Discovery Center passes, Amped Adventure Park gift cards, Wildcat Bluff passes, Every Drop Counts merchandise, of course, Mitch's Barbecue gift cards, and AmCon passes. A final congratulations to our winners, and we look forward to next year's contest. It is crucial that we interact with those in the community regularly to spread knowledge and conservation techniques. New and exciting conservation methods are constantly being developed. We as a committee will be incorporating new ideas and projects throughout the year. Once the calendars have been printed, I will post a link to the city website. The location of the calendars will be posted, as well as the date is when they will be ready for pickup. These will be free for anyone who would like a copy of the calendar. So now I think we're going to take some photos, and then after the photos, winners and parents just accompany me to the hallway, and then I'll hand out the prizes to everybody.
Yes, sir. So can we go ahead and give a round of applause to these young artists? Congratulations to the winners, as well as the others that participated, and we appreciate you guys doing this for us. We're going to come down, and we're going to take a photo with you guys. So we'll move the mic and the podium out of the way, and then can we have any parents, grandparents, anyone with these youngsters go ahead and come up? We'll do that photo here as well.
If you're back behind, just look between somebody's shoulders. Perfect. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Hang on. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you. Okay, we have an active public comment period here today, and so
We are going to open it up for public comment, and then I believe we will have a few responses just to kind of help communicate a little bit better what took place last week and what our intentions are moving forward. So, Ms. City Secretary, if you'll move forward with public comment now.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for participating in today's City Council meeting. Your input and your opinions are important to us, and we are glad that you're here to share them. At each posted meeting, we invite our fellow community members to address City Council regarding posted agenda items or any topics related to city business or policy. Every speaker today will have 3 minutes to address the council. At the end of 2.5 minutes, you will hear a warning beep alerting you have 30 seconds left to wrap up your thoughts. When you come to the microphone today, please state your name and whether or not you live in Amarillo city limits, and then share your comments with council. Just as a reminder, as to items that are not on the agenda today, council is limited in how they can interact with you on these. They can make a statement of fact, recite an existing policy, or request an item be put on a future agenda, but they cannot engage in conversation with you today. We have 7 people signed up, and then council, just for the record, we also had a total of 29 people register for public comment today that do not wish to speak, and those comments have been provided to you. So first registered to speak today is Melanie May, and on deck after Melanie May will be Jesse Fremer.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Councilman. My name is Melanie May. I just wanted to come today just for comment. It has nothing to do with anything on the agenda, and just to let you and our citizens know the literature that is being dispersed at our public libraries, or our marketing rather, for our public libraries. This was in the spring. I've visited all the libraries mostly. I've picked up the literature, marketing flyers, and I have not seen any more, but I was just kind of appalled at what our public library was putting out for our children to pick up at the public library. And it is 113 books geared toward LGBTQ literature for children and young adults. Granted, it is not pushing it on our children, but it is marketing that is readily available for our children to pick up. And I know the library probably has gotten a lot of these books in, and that's fine. I'm not here to debate this ideology. I'm just here to let citizens know that our public libraries are distributing this type of literature, promoting, in my opinion, this type of agenda. For example, we have adult nonfiction on here. We have a young adult fiction, young adult graphic novels, young adult nonfiction, middle grade fiction, middle grade nonfiction, middle grade graphic novels, and picture books for kids. Some of the titles of these books are something you would not want your children. I'm a parent of 3, and it is something that I don't want my kids going to the public library, picking up a flyer to promote this type of ideology. Granted, we are a free country. We can distribute all types of ideology. I'm not here to debate that. I'm just here to say that it seems as if this group is getting preferential treatment for this marketing distribution. Like I said, some of the titles, She's My Dad, a story for children who have transgender parents or relatives. For the picture books for kids, Pink is for Boys, Prince and Knight, Pride Puppy, a Red Crayon Story. So just like I said, I'm not here to debate this, but just to let you know that I'm appalled at this type of marketing for our children, that they can readily go to. I picked this up off of a bookshelf, and as far as I know, it is no longer there, because I have most of them. But anyway, I just wanted to.
Thank you, Ms. May, for being here today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I make a statement?
Yes, sir.
Ms. May, we appreciate that. I'll tell you as a statement of fact, once that literature was found in the libraries, we did meet with the city manager, and that issue was taken care of. So it was back in the spring. And it wasn't just that promotional literature, but all promotional literature was removed. So just to let you know.
Right, and thank you, because I don't know how this would even be out to begin with. You know, it is too controversial, and we don't need to indoctrinate our children. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Councilman.
Next is Mr. Frimmer. And Mr. Frimmer, if you'll confirm, I believe you gave council a handout.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is at your places, council. On
This is
deck, after Mr. Frimmer, will be Rhiannon Birch.
I'm Jesse Fremmer, 5723 South Milam. I'm talking about the needs of our city marshal and our solid waste guy, Mr. Alan Harder. These gentlemen are working under some really difficult situations. I know you're dealing with the budget here. We're dealing with how to spend money, our city budget. But at the same time, we have to clean up our city. And I really appreciate the prayer that our Reverend gave this morning. It addressed this issue of our responsibility to messes and the collusion that people bring upon our community, and they're not paying attention in their citizen pride of trying to keep it clean. And we put the city marshal in the position of trying to enforce some of these rules. I noticed in talking with him that he has 5 contractors. 3 of the contractors do the weeds, and 2 of the contractors do the weeds and debris. And we have 103 square miles of city property that these people will be investigating. We have 7 inspectors under his tutelage. These rates, I think, are way beyond the 18% inflation that we've experienced in the last 2.5 years. And these rates were set back in 2018. And there's no way that we can get contractors to do this job that is under these rates. And I know this is frustrating you as new members of our council to discuss these rate increases, but we have been inflicted with this, with the inflation on everything, and it's affected the city and how it's spending our city tax money. But in talking about this, I also had talk with Mr. Harder about a problem at the Janae and 58th Avenue. That place was repaired about 3 weeks ago with a crew of our city's maintenance people, and they ended up repairing it. It was working good, and Mr. Harder and I looked at it real well. Well, it's already got a hole dug in there about 5 by 5 inches, and it's wallowing right back out again because of citizens. And we had this save every drop conversation this afternoon, and this doesn't speak well to the citizens in the Fox Ridge Edition because they're watering the gutter, they're not watering their lawns. And by watering the gutter, it's impacting the corruption there at Janae and 58th Avenue, which impacts us as citizens to have to keep sending our repair crews back in there repairing that intersection. So Mr. Harder needs to put some effort in cleaning out the gutters for the sediment and silt that's collecting that's in those gutters, and it's slowing down the water draining to our drainage ports on Washington. And those are some things that I hope that you guys can address in helping Mr. Harder and his needs in sanitation and in drainage in our city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Next, Ms. Birch, and on deck will be Carolee Clay.
Afternoon.
Hello, you guys. So I'm just going to keep this short. Thank you, Mayor, Councilman, City Manager, all y'all. Hi, I'm Rhiannon. I'm a lifelong Amarillo native. Of all the things the city does that I appreciate, the beautiful city parks are my favorite. I skate in them when I can. Lately, it's come to my attention that sadly, Amarillo has a negative reputation due to the events surrounding the untimely death of a young local artist in 1997, Brian Deneke, who also loved to skate. Respectfully overlooking any differences of local opinion, on past events. Brian is now internationally seen as a worldwide cultural icon, remembered in songs, film, and many internet videos. Many young people admire him. The R-rated 2017 movie, Bomb City, currently on Prime Video, is based on Brian's story, which my friend Chris Oles lived firsthand. Like in all films, artistic license was taken. However, due to the notoriety of Brian's story being told in film format on a worldwide stage, Amarillo is now, unfortunately, internationally regarded as a hotbed of hatred, prejudice, and violence against members of our city's diverse culture. In fact, regarding Amarillo, the official Wikipedia page on the local killing of Brian Deneke currently states that it raised accusations about the social tolerance of the Texan city, in reference to Amarillo. Frankly, I don't like our city being remembered that way in history. Therefore, I propose that we, together, take a small, unified step to help bring healing to the community and do what we can to remedy Amarillo's negative reputation in relation to the tragic events. I believe a Brian Deneke skate park commemoration would be a significant, actionable, attainable, and affordable step towards this goal. I and the community have specific, including cost-effective ideas for accomplishing this. I understand there have been other similar ideas discussed before, which I'm not associated with, excuse me, such as an online petition or an entirely new Elwood Skate Park constructed in commemoration, neither of which have yet come to fruition. My current proposal includes either or both of the following: renaming only the skate park portion of John Stiff Park, which current signage labels Amarillo Skate Park, to Brian Deneke Memorial Skate Park, or allowing the community placement of a commemorative monument with a plaque near the skate park area entrance. The proposed monument would be similar in size, shape, form, and appearance to the existing commemorative plaques at John Stiff Park. Today, I would like to leave you with some further written information to reinforce why, with the Deneke's consent, I'm specifically asking that our City Council please accept my request that a further, more detailed discussion of a Brian Deneke skate park commemoration be put on your upcoming agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We will take that in consideration for sure.
Just
You
to
have
leave
something to
with-
hand out, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, you can take it right over here. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, next is Ms. Clay. And on deck after Kara Lee will be Victoria Hughes.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilman. Thank you. My name is Kara Lee Clay. I am a citizen of Amarillo. I'm the Senior Vice President at the Amarillo Area Foundation. And I just wanted to discuss some of the partnerships that the foundation currently has with the Amarillo Public Library. It has been brought to our attention that there's been some discussion of budget cuts. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how that might affect some of the things we have going on. First of all, we did provide a grant to the Makerspace. And of course are interested in making sure that space is continued to use effectively and well so that that investment from the foundation is protected. But also we are working on early childhood education as an initiative at the foundation, and the library does priceless work of being able to help that 0 to 5 age group get ready to read. And that's not happening in a lot of places right now. Our kindergarten readiness rates are below 50%. So taking anything away from that, I feel, would be short-sighted and could possibly really hurt our future economy, because these are our kids that are going to be our future workers, and they're coming into school not ready to learn. So I think the library is really posed to be able to help that, and they're doing it currently. There are some people here, I think, who can speak more about early childhood literacy. But specifically, I wanted to talk about our digital literacy program that we've been working on. We've been working on this with the library and with city officials for a couple of years, and really the last 18 months have gotten very intentional about it. We've been doing a workshop with the Harvard Innovation and have developed a plan. And a few months ago, the foundation wrote a grant to Dell requesting what they call a pro bono. So that is where they assign Dell employees to an initiative to help us get it launched. We were awarded that. We were one of 15 organizations in North America that was awarded that grant, and we're in the midst of launching that now. In fact, we had our first meeting with Dell last Thursday. We have our next one this coming Thursday, and part of that grant is that we are in partnerships with the libraries for them to be able to supply part of this digital literacy plan. And not only that, we're looking at future grants of being able to outfit the libraries with all the equipment they need. This doesn't just include Amarillo Library, but also using the Harrington Consortium, which is a really rare thing. I don't think people realize how rare it is to have that kind of networking of libraries in a community that the Harringtons had the forethought to set up. We would be able to take this digital literacy across 26 counties, and we all know that when our rural communities thrive, it helps Amarillo, because this is their home. This is where they come for medical care. It's where they come for education. It's where they come for entertainment. So I would just invite you to learn more about the digital literacy program and how the libraries are important to that, and how that public-private partnership is what is getting AT&T to donate hundreds of laptops to us, and the Dell organization to donate lots of time and their talent to us for this initiative, because that's what excited them about this program. So I welcome meeting with any of you at any time.
Mrs. Clay, thank you for coming in here, and I appreciate the attitude and also the investment that you've made. And so just as a statement of fact, we had a budget workshop where I actually brought up the need to evaluate like every department. That's not just myself, that's everyone here. But in the evaluation of the departments, I did bring up the library as one that I had questions on. And so in evaluating every department, third floor included, we've had a conversation and a discussion to try to learn more. Like, what all does our library do? It's not just a resource center where there's books on the shelf. And so you and the Amarillo Area Foundation are a good example of the things that we don't want to negatively impact. And we need to make sure that we're thinking forward enough to weigh decisions, not just on a black and white page of this is a number, let's cut this, let's cut that. What we asked for is show us what happens to your programs. Which programs can you not get to? How do these programs function? You know, if we had shorter hours, what does that look like? And I know I was personally looking at, like, maybe 9 o'clock in the evening is not the best usage of resources if our libraries are somewhat vacant or maybe not being utilized by the majority of our citizens. So if we cut that to 7 p.m., maybe that's not a big issue, you know, on our budget, but it is for us in making sure we stewarding every dollar well. Because I know I'm looking at a $470 million budget, and I want to know if this $10,000 has to be spent. And so it's not anything that's been done. It's an evaluation. And so we're learning, and so we appreciate your graciousness and how you came in here to talk to us. But we want to make sure that for sure people and entities like yourself and Dell and others that are investing in our community have everything that they need to make sure those investments are well stewarded. And that is why we're evaluating and learning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs.
I would just
Clay.
say with the hours, keep in mind that a lot of people work till 6 or 7, and they go to the library to upskill so that they can get to that next level. So keeping in mind a lot of people don't work 9 to 5 too.
We have read, I know I've personally read every one of these. I've taken probably 50 other emails, read every one, trying to respond. We are learning and listening, and we will listen before we make any rash judgments on just a monetary basis.
Thank you. I appreciate you all very much. Have a good
ma'am.
afternoon.
Next, Victoria Hughes, and on deck will be Lytton St. Stephen.
Hello, good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Thank you for listening to us here, and I am in Amarillo city limits, and my name is Victoria Hughes, and I facilitate a group called Operation First 5, and it was great to hear how you wanting to learn, because I just came to speak on our partnership with the libraries and some other things that libraries are doing. And you're exactly right. They're not just a place that houses books, right? So we've been in active partnership with the Amarillo Public Libraries for some years now, working in our collective impact group that tackles tough issues that face families who have children birth to 5. And they have been a huge player and partner in sharing out information about the brain. We know that over 80% of the brain is developed by the age of 5, and so we have to start early, and they've been strong partners in that. They're actually a family place library, which is not something that all libraries are, which means they make the libraries a place that families want to go who have children birth to 5 years old. So comfortable spaces where they can play and sit and read. And we know all that's really important happening in those early years. So I brought some documents here that shares more about the partnership. You're going to see the public libraries highlighted here as one of our partners. You're going to see on a document that's our sociological saturation model that the libraries are right here as a cornerstone of one of the areas that we want to saturate with information about the brain of infants and toddlers, developing brain, and it's called the 5 basics. And the libraries are core in this sociological saturation model and what we're doing and really looking into and having initiatives around with Operation First 5. So they're a really strong partner with us, and the way that they have contributed to the strategic planning of really making Amarillo a great place to live for all families who have children birth to 5 has been invaluable. And I have personal relationships with people there, and they're always accessible, always positive and open, and really fulfill this mission of making our community strong now for the future workforce. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next is Lytton, and while they make their way up on deck, will be our last speaker, Colton Hibbs.
Good afternoon. My name is Lytton St. Stephen. I do live in the city limits, and I've lived in Amarillo for the past 5 years. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I wanted to talk about our libraries. This proudly is my library card, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit in favor of the Amarillo Public Library system. I was raised in a small rural community, and like many who live in rural areas, I was quite isolated. I learned to read at an early age, and after I read my way through all of the available books at our home, my mother took me to our public library, a magical place where I quickly earned a reputation for carrying great armfuls of books that oftentimes reached as high as my chin out the door at every visit. I loved the public library. I still love the public library. The public library was a safe place for me to retreat, where I knew I would find kind, knowledgeable, and highly trained librarians who helped to curate the next stack of books that I would take home and devour. I remember being in awe of the library. It felt like a sacred, approachable space. The library opened the world to me. For the first time in my life, it was possible to learn everything I wanted to learn about everything. I could read about old-timey gangsters, all of Agatha Christie's mysteries, handwriting analysis, and Julie Andrews' biographies to my heart's content. I read about World War II and the Russian Revolution. I read everything from the Meditations and Plutarch to Jeeves and Wooster and a little series you may have heard of, Hank the Cowdog. I became friends with our librarian, Miss Mary. I remember her presence in my life very clearly. She was kind and encouraging and always made time to ask me about the books I was reading and made sure to tell me how impressed she was with how many books I was reading, which in turn made me want to read more books. I was very fond of Miss Mary, so much so that years later, when I was well into my 20s, I was invited to her retirement party, which I am proud to say I attended. I wanted to be sure to tell her thank you for helping to push open the door that revealed a wide and wonderful world in all its curiosity and beauty to me all those years ago. Public libraries do so much more than house books. They give us a place to find community and resources and safety, and sometimes just a softly lit corner to quietly lose ourselves in other worlds, other lives, and other possibilities. I know that the 5 libraries in Amarillo provide that same experience to other people here and in our outlying counties, regardless of their background, reading level, age, race, or income. I know that our library provides critically important access to air conditioning, internet, and printers, ESL book clubs like the summer reading program, and other offerings that maybe many of us take for granted. But these are critically important to every member of our community who's looking to better their circumstances, expand their worlds, or who just needs a momentary respite or quiet corner in which to daydream. I hope that you will keep my story in mind as you work through the complicated budgetary process in the coming weeks, and that you will remember how critical our libraries are for people like me and unlike me, and for people like and unlike yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Lyden.
Thank you.
And our last speaker is Colton Hibbs. And not seeing Colton Hibbs. Mayor, that concludes everyone that registered for public comment today.
Okay. Do we have anyone else here that would like to speak today? This topic or another one before we move on? If you'll please give us your name when you get up there, please, sir. And if you live in or out of the city limits.
Kevin Carter and live in the city limits. I just want to come before y'all to talk about an incident that happened Friday. My family experienced a little minor emergency Friday, and I want to thank the good officers that we have in this town. Officer Guerrero was there when my son had a family emergency, and Officer Padron, and your partner Guerrero. And then we had two EMS folks that were awesome. The last name Taylor and last name Serrano, and also the folks at Northwest Hospital. We don't give enough credit to those folks that do that work, and so I wanted to stand up here and give publicly thank those folks that came. He's fine, and so but I'm certainly grateful for those folks that do that. So Martin, if you'll tell those Officer Guerrero, I appreciate what y'all do, and Brandon for sure what y'all do as well. So. Appreciate that, and thanks for the opportunity to come up and say that publicly.
Yes, sir. We thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you for speaking to that, making that known, bringing some light on that. I hope you never need them, but I know that when you do need them, they're there and they're well equipped, and they've got you and your public safety, on the top of their list, and that's our heart here. So thank you for that. Do we have anyone else here today that would like to say anything? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward.
Thank you for at least hearing me. My name is Sonora Fansler. I've lived in Amarillo since 1970, and I think I've gone to the public library since 1970. As you can see here, I have on a badge. It says I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I have traced, because of the library, all the way back to 1616 in Ireland to a patriot who came over to the United States. He was such a good patriot that the President, John Quincy Adams, gave him land. I would never have known all of this without the librarian, without the library, and without the librarians. This is just my home away from home. And I represent the Genealogy Club. One of our other genealogy members is here with me. And this place is very special to us. And like they said, 9 o'clock at night, I'm used to going home at 9 o'clock at night. I will stay and work as long as I possibly can, because the resources that are there, I don't have at my house. So please consider taking care of us. Hi, Don. He's my insurance agent.
Yeah. Oh, man. I would have asked for a discount if I was you. That was a prime opportunity. Let me state, just for the record, I do have something here. North and East Branch Library closures was one thing. Other closures, people feeling like we're closing libraries. Let me just state for the record, like, no one is closing any libraries. We are not closing any libraries. We're not at a point in our budget where we're worried about, like, do we have to close a library? We are not closing any libraries. We are evaluating the levels of service that we give, and are we utilizing all of the labor that we have over there in an efficient manner? Meaning, do we have 10 people working, and you would have no reduction in service and no reduction in quality if you had, let's say, 7 or 8? That is our question. Now, I'm not even saying that that's a good question. If you want to come back up so they could hear you, I can't get in a conversation, but I definitely want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I am concerned with the budget cut that there are going to be employees lose their job.
Yes, ma'am.
And there are quite a few people over there that are my friends, and they have helped me throughout the years. And it's hard for me to think that their jobs are not as important as other people's. Now, I realize you have a budget. I used to be a bookkeeper, so I'm kind of aware of things like that. But please, please consider that to cut down things like that, you're also going to take people's jobs.
Yes, ma'am.
And if I can do anything to help you support the library, please let me help Don. Okay?
What you've done is greatly appreciated. We appreciate you speaking up.
Well, it's very important to us, me, Molly, Carolee. You know, it's something that's very important to us. So, and we realize you're not talking about closing them down,
Right.
but just reducing, like you said, even to move the hours to 7 instead of 9. I've got a cousin that works for American Quarter Horse. She don't get off until 6. So how much work could she actually get done? I mean, you go in, you've got to find books, or you get on the computers, and that can't just be done in an hour.
Right.
So, thank you.
We hear you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, I'll ask one more time. Anyone else? And then we'll move on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move forward with our agenda. That concludes public comment. We have some discussion items here. Before we move into the discussion, do we have anything for council that needs to be taken care of on this agenda? Okay, we're going to move into item 7B, discussion on utility billing and an online payment system that we're trying to improve upon. Ms. Laura Storrs is going to come and educate us on this.
I don't see the clicker, but good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So hopefully somebody can kind of walk me through slides as we go here. So we have some exciting news that we actually announced to you all last week, and so we were wanting to bring it forward today so we could start getting the word out that we have a new payment portal for our utility billing system. So we understand that our online payment portal has been a little bit challenging over the past few years, and we knew that there were better options out there. So we have been working for a while now to find a better solution to provide better customer service to our citizens. So back in January of this year, we kind of kicked off this project and kind of went through a planning phase, we went through a testing phase, and now we are ready to go live with this new payment portal. We are going to change it over on this coming Monday, August 7th. We will be sending out a bunch of communication this week. We will be notifying customers, and our customers can go to amarillo.gov/pay. And we're excited about this because it's very user-friendly. It's more like websites that you go and access all the time to pay bills. It's a lot better experience for everyone. We're also offering a $10 one-time credit on water bills for signing up to go paperless. So that is an option inside of this portal. And so we are hoping to help spread the word so we can get as many people as possible to cut back on maybe some of the paper out there in the world and to go paperless. So there will be a $10 one-time credit for signing up. So if we can go to the next slide, we have a short video that Chase Brady and Joyce Stewart and their team put together that goes through a little more, and then I'll wrap up.
Paying your utility bill just got easier with Pay AMA. Our new payment portal is easy to register, simple to use, and offers Paying your utility bill just got easier with Pay AMA. Our new payment portal is easy to register, simple to use, and offers a variety of payment methods. Now let's get you signed up. Before we get started, you'll need your customer ID number, which can be found on your water bill here. Don't have a bill close by? Just call 806-378-3030 and our team will be happy to find it for you. Once you have your customer ID number, you'll want to visit amarillo.gov/pay and press the Pay Now button. You will end up on the Pay AMA page. Click on the Register Now button. Fill out the account creation form and press Enroll. You should now see the Add Account page. From here, enter your customer ID number you retrieved earlier. From here, you can select the different ways you want to be notified of and receive your bill. By choosing the paperless option, your bills will be sent directly to your registered email, eliminating the weight of traditional mail. And for a limited time, when you enroll in paperless billing, you'll receive a one-time $10 credit for your next utility bill. The Pay by Text option allows you a convenient way to review and pay your bill via text message. You can also select your preferred payment method from options like e-check, debit or credit card, or various digital wallets. Once you've made your selections, check the payment authorization terms and add your account. You can now set up and review additional Pay AMA features like autopay, bill history, payment history, external payments, and My Wallet. You're all set with the new Pay AMA utility bill portal. If you have questions or concerns, please call us at 806-378-3030, and our team will be happy to help. Thank you for using Pay AMA.
All right, so appreciate Chase Brady putting that video together for us, and we will have this posted online. We're going to be sending it out through social media posts as well, just trying to spread the word about how to get enrolled in this new feature. And so on our new payment portal, as mentioned in the video, there's several different ways that you can make payments, debit, credit cards, ACH, e-checks, and then digital wallet features. And so that's everything from, Venmo, Apple Pay, Google Pay, those type things. So more common features that our customers are used to and we have not had the ability to take historically. There's also, you can go in there and kind of set your expiration date and information about your credit card if you want to have reoccurring payments come out. As you saw in the video, there's also an option to pay by text, so you can put in your cell phone number. It'll send you a text message each month, and then you can actually opt in to pay by texting in. And then, as always, we're still going to have the pay by phone feature. We also have the ability to receive mailed-in utility bills. People can still do that, of course. They can access our customer service representatives here at City Hall. And then we have several options, kind of off-site options other than City Hall to make payments. And that's everything from the United Supermarkets take our utility billing payments, Fiesta Foods, Walmart, and Amarillo National Bank are also areas that our customers can pay. Also, on this new payment portal, you can go in and just do a one-time payment. If you don't want to register and if you don't want to save your information in the portal, you can certainly do a one-time payment as well. So the exciting thing about this new payment portal is we are going live this coming Monday, August 7th, with utility billing, and that's the first department. But we are going to bring more and more city departments into this same payment portal. Our goal is to essentially make it a one-stop shop for any kind of payment that needs to be made to the city. So a few of the areas that we're looking to roll out in the future are areas like building safety, our code enforcement, which is kind of through our city marshal department, director of utilities, and several others. We just have to continue to analyze the systems they work with and the compatibility with this new payment portal. So we're trying to make it as seamless as possible for our customers. Also, as you're all aware, we have an AMI project going on, automated metering infrastructure system going in, and we will have a consumption portal that is utilized once it's fully implemented across the city, but it will be interfaced into this payment portal so our customers can not only pay a bill, but they can also track their consumption and get notifications through that one area. So we're real excited about that. There's going to be more information to come on it. As also mentioned on the video, when you're registering for the first time on the payment portal website, you'll need your utility account number and customer number, which is up here on the screen, and it's outlined on the bill. If a citizen's not sure where to get that, please just call us at 806-378-3030. You can also email us at billing@amarillo.gov. And then again, there's going to be more information out on our amarillo.gov /pay website. This video will be on there with information and more ways to kind of access this system. So from this point, and one other thing I wanted to mention, all of our existing customers that are using our payment portal will have to register again for this new portal. We're going to be sending out emails to those customers letting them know that this is coming. We're going to have information at bill stuffers. So in the actual bills that are going out in the mail, there will be an informational item in there. We're also going to have a press release. We're going to have social media posts. We're going to try many ways to get the information out there. Also, here at City Hall, we will have a banner up, in the utility billing area. There's going to be sandwich boards with kind of this information. And so we're really working hard, and this is kind of the initial kickoff. And this week, we're doing a heavy hit towards our customers to let them know this is coming. And so we will be working with customers through the transition. And certainly do encourage anyone interested in the paperless option to go sign up, because it is that $10 one-time credit on an upcoming water bill. And then also we will have this in both English and Spanish just to meet the needs of our citizens. And with that, are there any questions that I can answer on this?
I just got two. I just got one on that. There's no app for this, correct? I mean, it's all web-based.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up my expert here. Yes, fantastic. So this is Jennifer Gonzalez. She's our utility billing manager.
Hi.
Hey.
Yes, this is all web-based. So
Okay.
We don't have an actual app, but it will convert. If you are on a cell phone, it'll convert to the phone.
Okay. And then my last question will be, so with this programming, are we capped on, like, say we're moving forward to the limitations as to what other types of things we can add into that, or are we just stuck on, water bill and those other things that were listed on there?
No, not necessarily. So it all kind of depends on the interfaces allowed through our systems, but we're already exploring options, for parks, environmental health, building safety. We would like to get as many city departments as possible. It's just kind of a step-by-step process, because a lot of them are utilizing different systems, and it's just making sure that we can feed the information properly back and forth between it. So this will be the first launch of many more to come, and we'll continue to bring that to you all as council, and then also to release that information to our citizens.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
Any other questions, council?
Are we waiving late fees?
So I think we will certainly be working through that as we transition through this. And so I would envision that, especially if customers are currently enrolled in our existing payment portal and there's a timing problem as they're transitioning to the new one, we will work through those individually. But it won't be necessarily a blanket waiving all late fees. It'll probably be more on a situational basis.
I think when we switched systems before, we had quite a few problems.
We did,
as
yes.
I recall, and we
Yes.
waived late fees. So
Yes.
I just,
If we identify any challenges with the system and with the transition that we may have contributed to, that's going to be on a case-by-case basis, though. We have not identified anything systematic that should cause late fees, so we want to make sure and facilitate that. And if we've contributed to someone being late, then we absolutely want to take care of that.
but so if I'm a current draft customer, if I draft after August 7th, it will not be paid.
So if you are a draft customer that is set up through our current online payment portal, there's also another option that we have provided historically, which is basically a paper option where you could fill out banking information for drafts. Those will continue. But if you had gone on to our current payment portal and registered to have these reoccurring payments made, you would have to go re-register. Otherwise, it won't draft. And again, those are our target customers we're working to reach out to. And also we'll be working with them through that transition if there's a delay in payment or something like that. That would be exactly the group that we're wanting to work with on waiving late
And then,
fees.
so the first time that this is kind of the rollout to the public today,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
We're launching it 6 days later. I don't know, maybe everybody will be paying attention to their emails and re-registering and all that kind of stuff, but I would bet a lot of people are busy, they may not be paying attention to it. So I'm glad we're keeping an eye on the late fees, because
Absolutely.
that could be an issue that we'd have to spend a whole lot of manpower than going, maybe everybody will do it, but if most people are like me, they probably won't, or they won't notice it for a month or two until you call to shut my water off or whatever it may be. So anyway.
Absolutely. And we're very conscious of that. Also, we're going live on August 7th, but a lot of bills are not due until many different times throughout the month, because we have districts and they bill at different times throughout the month. So we're going to continue pushing communications out. And you're right, we know this, especially from our last software transition. We do not have the ability to reach every single one of our customers and to be heard about a change. And so we'll be working through those on a case-by-case basis as they discover that something has changed and may not have realized it, and we'll work with them on that.
Okay.
Yes. Unless you have the secret idea of how to reach them all, because
No,
I am all
just,
ears.
It
Yes.
would be great, and I don't know what the transition was like before, because it was
Yeah.
kind of, that kind of thing. But if we're going to have to work with 10,000 people that forget to do it,
Yep.
and then we've got to spend all that man hours going back and dealing with customers individually, I just wonder, and again, maybe it's set into place, maybe, I don't know how much it would cost us financially, but maybe a grace period for this, so you
Absolutely.
give me maybe a month or two to find it, instead of us charging all these late fees and having people have to call us up, complaining about the late fees, because they've really done nothing wrong. If they set up the auto draft, we're
Absolutely.
changing it. We're forcing them to do that. So if it can lessen the pain for our customers, as well as maybe the expense of having to spend a lot of man hours dealing with it and correcting it, may just be something to think about, a grace period for a certain amount of time.
Absolutely. And if that's something that mayor and council wants to direct us just to go ahead and do a blanket grace period time, we can absolutely do that. So, we're willing to do whatever direction you guys give us, but, or we can wait and see how it goes and bring it back to you. It's whatever you all would like, we can work through.
So I'm curious if we would have, I'm assuming you would have all of your draft itemized, where you have a list of those customers that are on draft. You could monitor those and see which ones are due for a late notice. And based on the late notice, could you pull all of those out and email them like a one-time grace period? We've instructed this way. And would that be something that's pretty easy for you to do in an automated system, or would that be the one-by-one account?
No, we can pull a report that will give us all of the reoccurring credit card payments, that will give us all of the draft information, and we can create an email basically that we can send out to those customers, or even if we need to send out a mailer to them as well, we can do that. But we can isolate to a specific group on who could possibly be in that grace period.
Does council have any problem with maybe directing that this first go-round, since we're rolling it out this way, to itemize all those customers once they're delinquent? Let's say we go 5 or 10 days past the due date, we group email them, mail them maybe if you wanted to, and then encourage them to get the payment portal set up in order to avoid a future late fee. You good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got anything they want to add to that? Okay. Hopefully that'll keep you from having to go one by one. But at the same time, you kind of get them all together, and then we'll figure out the one-by-ones on the third round, I'm sure.
We also have a phone notification that we utilize right now, so we can send those messages out by phone as well.
Yeah, probably rather do that than mail. Yeah, it's not mail.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, other questions on this? Okay.
No, we appreciate the update.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any future items requested by council here today? No. All right. That concludes our discussion. We are going to move into item 8, and that is our consent agenda. I do know we have a few things that we are going to pull just for a discussion. So I would ask council if you have anything you'd like to offer up to be pulled for a discussion.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to pull item 8-0.
Okay, so
Or,
item
sorry, 8-0.
8-0.
I apologize.
No problem. Pulled for a discussion. Any others? Okay. Would ask for a motion to approve consent agenda less 8-0.
I'll make a motion that we accept consent agenda as written, all except 8-0.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on any of this, council? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so consent agenda passes in a 5-0 vote, and we'll take up item 8-0. Ms. City Secretary, I see Rich moving. Is Rich my guy? Yep.
Rich.
Okay. Rich Gagnon is coming up here to talk to us about this. This is a pretty good topic. I think it's a good one to pull, and we appreciate the additional education on it.
Absolutely happy to do it. In anticipation of this, I had my AI assistant actually generate a short summary of what digital human is. So I'm going to kick it off to Amy and let her do her intro and then pass it back to me for questions.
Hello, Mayor, Council, and residents of Amarillo. I am Amy, the AI assistant to the CIO of the City of Amarillo. Together, we work to seek out new technologies being used in business that can have an impact on the effectiveness of local government. Our goal is to safely implement these technologies to increase the efficiency of our city while greatly improving our service to the citizens. Navigating local government is often challenging for residents when they need access to information or services, particularly if that resident is not comfortable with technology or is new to our country and is still learning English. How much easier would it be if they could simply ask a question and get an answer? Digital humans enable new opportunities to greatly simplify the process for our residents. Let's start with a simple example of a resident needing to dispose of bulky trash.
Hello. Hola. Konnichiwa. I'm Sophie. It is great to meet you. What's your name?
Hi, Sophie. My name is Rich. I'm trying to find out if the city of Amarillo has a landfill.
Hello, Rich. Nice to meet you. Yes, the city of Amarillo does have a landfill. It is called the Amarillo Landfill, and it provides waste disposal services for residents and businesses in the area.
Is there anything they won't take?
While the Amarillo landfill accepts a wide range of waste materials, there are certain items that may not be accepted for disposal. These can include hazardous materials such as chemicals, paints, batteries, and medical waste. It's always best to check with the landfill directly or visit their website for a comprehensive list of acceptable and prohibited items.
Can you repeat that in Spanish?
Of course. Here's the translation in Spanish. Aunque el relleno sanitario de Amarillo acepta una amplia gama de desechos, hay ciertos elementos que es posible que no sean aceptados para su disposición. Estos pueden incluir materiales peligrosos como productos químicos, pinturas, baterías y residuos médicos. Siempre es mejor consultar directamente con el relleno sanitario o visitar su sitio web para obtener una lista completa de los elementos aceptables y prohibidos.
Does the city of Amarillo offer pickup for bulky trash items?
Yes, the City of Amarillo offers a pickup service for bulky trash items. This service allows residents to schedule a collection for large and oversized items that cannot be disposed of through regular garbage collection. Examples include furniture, appliances, mattresses, and other bulky household waste. You can contact the city's solid waste department or visit their website to find out more about scheduling a pickup.
Is there anything they won't pick up?
While the City of Amarillo's bulky trash pickup service is designed to collect a wide range of large items, there are certain materials that may not be eligible for pickup. These can include hazardous waste, construction debris, automotive parts, and tires. It's recommended to check with the city's solid waste department or visit their website for specific guidelines on what items are accepted and any restrictions that may apply.
Can you repeat that in Japanese?
Of course. Here's the translation in Japanese. もちろんです。以下は日本語での翻訳です。はい、アマリロ市では大型ゴミの収集サービスを提供しています。このサービスでは、通常のゴミ収集では処理できない大型や特大のアイテムを予約して回収することができます。家具、家電製品、マットレスなどの傘。
Thank you, Sophie. I appreciate the help. Have a good day.
You're welcome, Rich. I'm glad I could help. Have a fantastic day. De nada, Rich. Me alegra haber podido ayudar. Que tengas un excelente día. どういたしまして、リッチさん。お手伝いできて嬉しいです。素晴らしい一日をお過ごしくださいね。
The impact becomes even greater when conversational interaction is added to the website to give residents immediate access to services. Let's look at a commercial example of how impactful the combination can be.
Hi, Rich. My name is Clara. I can answer questions or make a recommendation. Is there anything I can help with?
Hi, Clara. My son is starting college this year, and he needs a laptop.
Hi, Rich. That's great to hear that your son is starting college. A laptop is definitely a must-have for students. To assist you in finding the right Dell computer for his needs, could you please let me know what he will primarily be using the laptop for?
He's an electrical engineering major, and he also likes to game.
Got it, Rich. It sounds like your son will need a powerful laptop capable of handling engineering tasks and gaming. For his needs, I recommend the Dell G16 gaming laptop. It offers a high-performing 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX graphics card for smooth gaming, ample memory and storage space, plus a stunning Quad HD Plus display. This laptop will excel in both his coursework and gaming sessions.
Imagine the impact of offering an always available personal guide to all city information and services. Booking a spot in the park, reporting a pothole, getting bulk pickup, even getting disaster information, and guidance on filling out the proper forms for assistance, all become conversational and convenient. The City of Amarillo Digital Human will bring an incredible level of efficiency and availability for our taxpayers. Now I will hand it back to Rich to discuss the next steps and answer any questions. Thank you for your time. Hello, Mayor, Council, and...
So, should Council approve this today, the process is actually pretty simple. We'll start immediately. What we'll do is we're working with 311 identifying who our high-touch departments are. Between now and September, we'll build the first model. So with that department, we'll actually start to model what would this look like for, let's say, utility billing, and build the interactions, build the framework, and then behind that, we'll start revamping the entire website. So instead of doing just another website project, what we're looking at is what do our residents actually need from each of our departments? And we're forcing that to be conversational. And it forces us as a city to actually sit down with residents and ask the question, what questions do you have for parks? I'll give you an example. Laura and I ran a test where we ran our entire budget into a model like this, and it didn't answer resident questions. It answers great questions if you know government accounting. So this allows us to go through a process where we actually sit down with our residents and walk through what your questions are and then drive our content based on what our residents want to know. So we would do that in the beginning. By September, we'd have the first. Off of that model, we'll run an innovation process where we'll engage with our community as we go through each department and get them converted. And then over the next year, we'll be working with Dell. Right now, something like this takes a massive compute environment to build, so we're doing it in their compute environment. The goal is inside that 12 months, we'll actually be able to pull that to our compute environment. That's important for a couple of reasons. One of the things we've done at the city is we work with a coalition of 60 cities around the globe that are very focused on AI from two perspectives. One, how do we make use of the benefits of AI but also how do we do that in a way that is safe, and how do we educate our residents on the other side of AI and how to protect themselves, and how do we protect our citizens. And moving it on site is a big part of that. Now, it's not ChatGPT, it's our language model that we own. We own where the data goes. We can be completely transparent on how it's interacted with. So that's our goal over the next 12 months. Questions?
Oh, I doubt we have any questions. Fantastic presentation. So excited, you know. I don't know if Mayor McCart ever thought she would hear an AI presentation in Japanese, but we're there. Yes. It does so much more than we can understand, really, in the way of me getting on and saying, hey, I need to know what type of a water meter I need. I need to know, do you supply water here, there, and everywhere? By the time I'm done with that interaction, I've gotten the cost for that water meter. I've requested it. It's produced a work order on the back end. It's already going out. I may even get an ETA schedule. I may not. But the amount of time that it takes to call and wait, and then, you know, I hang up because I took another call. I called back, and then, you know, what I asked, you couldn't help me, so there was a call back the next day. And then by the time we get the information we need, there's days and days that go by for our citizens that we're cutting out with this. So I would say if you're a city and you don't have a Rich, I'm sorry for you. Like, it's not fair. But I'm super thankful. I'm super thankful that we have a Rich, and that this is something that we can implement, and it will transform some things here at the city on our customer service.
It will, and we have the advantage of being, I call it first mover advantage. So we're leading the globe in this effort, and we have visibility at the highest levels of Dell. Just full transparency, I've been asked to speak at that coalition of cities. So it's Amarillo speaking to the 60 biggest cities in the world, because we're leading in how we use technology to drive efficiency and give better service to our residents.
So, Rich, would the digital human be the face of the website? So when you go to our website, which is not easy to navigate.
It's not.
It's so cumbersome. So the digital human would be there to ask, what do you want to know? And then they can just speak it if it's on their phone, or they can type it, whatever, and it will direct, give all the information, bring, like you said, bring up the forms if they need to fill out the forms.
Exactly.
It's all levels.
It could be as simple as I'm standing on 45th and Bell and I see a pothole, and it could bring up the 311 form and even give you directions on how to fill the thing out. The other beautiful thing about this is this can go beyond just the city as an entity. So the way it's built, technically, you have the core components, right, that make up a digital human. But there are knowledge bases. So, for example, we could partner with nonprofits in the area if there's specific areas, and you could ask a question like, I am a Somali refugee, I'm a female, I'm pregnant, what are my resources? And now suddenly it's not just a city resource. You could plug into all of nonprofit, or, you know what I'm saying? So now it becomes the digital human for our region.
So it's not locked into just city information.
It's not. We could be a service provider to other agencies and actually be able to provide guidance for residents.
Which is great for our community.
Yeah, and it's also tied to digital literacy. You'll notice part of the funding comes there, because the other piece of work we're doing is making this can be an instructor for our community. It can be one more asset that we offer. I mean, imagine a world where you're new to the United States and you need a GED, and you can do that at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it doesn't matter, right? So it's transformative.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
This so on the item today, this 582,000. That's where does that get us? Where will we be at the end of this? And then what do we? You mentioned computer infrastructure need or something, taking that on that. So tell me where does this get us, and then what are the next steps in the future?
That's actually a conglomerate. So Dell is the primary partner, and they're working with 3 other companies in the background. So there's multiple pieces to this. You have the actual digital human, so that is development that has to be done, and it's not that different than when they do like Marvel movies. I mean, they're building a digital human. You have the language model piece that gets engineered, and then behind that you have what they call the knowledge fabric. That's what does it know. So, and that's one other thing to bear in mind. Our digital human, we want it to only know city things, right? So that's the way we're driving toward. This gets us the full development stack. in the cloud while we're working on driving that toward local. So there will be another step later, and there'll also be another step with us picking a new a website developer or hosting service, if you will. We don't want to pick that until we actually build the model, and then we can give the requirements to updating our website. So.
And since we're in the middle of budget season, tell me a little bit about the efficiency part. I mean, obviously we want to be more efficient in solving the problems.
Certainly.
Obviously there's an investment in this.
There is.
We're getting the investment back out of providing a better service for our citizens, but operationally, how does this help us become more efficient to reallocate resources to other needs?
Very good question. There's not, in full transparency, there's not a really good there's not a good source of information from a government perspective. So I've reached out to private sector because private sector is ahead of us on this. And when the data that they're seeing is about an 82% close rate on any issue that's brought to a digital human. So the impact could be 82% of our customer requests could be flowing through this channel, and that means we can retask folks that are taking phone calls to do other administrative work. That means 311 call center probably won't have to expand and be as big. If we're driving most of our traffic this way, we get the efficiency of honestly just handling our issues with something that's automated.
And just to clarify, 311 is a non-emergency problem-solving line?
That's exactly what it is. It is everything but an emergency.
Yeah. I learned something last week that I guess what percentage of our 911 calls are animal-related? I think it is like the majority of the calls
and
that are some of them may be emergencies, but many of them are not, and could be something that could be deferred to 311 or something.
Exactly. And we've already, Jennifer has already started working on picking up all the non-emergency calls, and we're seeing huge impact.
How many does this serve at a time?
That's something that we're going to have to test. I mean, full transparency, we're the first government to do this, so it just depends on how big we scale, and we'll have to figure out how big we scale to serve the demand that we have here. But it's infinite in how you can scale it. But we'll want to make some financial decisions there because you always want a balance of service versus cost. Because I could make it available to the globe, that would be really expensive. So we'll actually do some measurement as we test it, and as we bring these online, we'll actually run tests with our community to get that interaction with it and understand what questions they're answering, are being asked, and how they feel about it, and we'll tune the service as we go forward to make sure that it's built to the size it needs to be built to.
Any questions over there, Mr. Kraft?
I guess just my only concern is with, I know technology costs money and, moving forward and stuff. And so, I mean, it really was a little discomforting to hear about how we don't know exactly what the capability and capacity of this is going to be once we launch it, because we could say if we get 10 citizens on there, then it crashes our whole website. That's one issue I have with it. And so do you have any idea, like at any base level of the capabilities it can hold?
Yeah, no, it can scale to millions and millions of people.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. This thing can scale to 100 million people if we want it to. What I'm saying is how far we go is a financial decision, and understanding, what service level do we want to provide against how much money do we want to spend. And that's going to take some research, and I'll be back in front of you guys talking about all of the data that we're gathering and what that looks like.
Okay. That's all I have.
Councilman Tips, you got anything?
I do not.
Okay. Let's go a little further into the data safety.
Sure.
So let's just grab a number. Let's say you have 1 billion items that you need to feed this AI. They're all city related. They're old documents, they're surveys, they're easements, they're ordinances, everything we have. So it's going to take you some time to get that integrated into the system. Not really? Okay.
Not really. No, these are built so they can train nightly, and that's kind of where it becomes really important in a disaster situation. So think about the flooding. That if that happened and this was online, we would have immediately pulled all our data together on where the shelters were, what the processes were. We would have trained that night, and the next day it would have been able to tell residents what to do. Once the SBA and FEMA and all those folks came in and they gave us forms, we could put those on our website. And that night, train it so we could guide residents through, okay, if you've had damage, we'll take you to the site, here's the form you fill out, hit submit. So that's kind of the beauty of this is it's trainable on as much as a nightly basis if you wanted to.
So then the other big part of that is being able to keep our data. So one, I thought it would take a little time to put it in there. Glad to hear that it's not. But then once we have all that data there, it's not the internet of things out there. It's not pulling everything. It functions based on what you've put inside of it, which is the City of Amarillo data, and it continues to maintain that data as it comes in. So your water usage, things that we may know about that residence, all the way to things that we've got on file.
Right. It's not going to see customer data. It's not going to have sensitive data in it. And it's actually part of the reason we're doing it the way we are is we could very easily right now just point it at our website. The problem is our website's not built conversationally, and a lot of that data is old and irrelevant. What this is going to do is it's actually going to force us as a city not only to fix the way we approach our website, but to keep it updated. So at the end of every day, the only data we're going to see as a city is these are the questions that were asked. Here are the questions that didn't get answered properly. So then as a department, every day you can look and see, okay, we're not answering these 3 questions. I'm going to fix the website so it answers them, and then we do an update. So it's not just even a day one thing. It's ongoing, and we're constantly improving the conversation that we're having with the public.
Okay. So I know you also take care of our cybersecurity and you protect us. So speak to that in the way of, does this open any other door that you have to keep locked?
No, there's 2 things I would say to that. One, it's also part of the reason I want it here and not using ChatGPT, right? Because that keeps the data in-house. And 2, it's not connected to any internal systems. And the third point I would make is we're not going to put sensitive data on it. It's all publicly accessible things. So it's not like you're going to be able to find somebody's personal information or employees' personal information. So no, we won't tie this to any internal systems. It is merely just a completely new way to do public-facing websites.
Very well. Any other questions?
One more. Do you have a ballpark figure for full implementation?
Well, this is going to get the whole model built, but no, not really, because it depends on how big we scale it, if that makes sense. We have the budget for it. If that's, we actually have website development budget, but instead of spending that on developing website, we're actually taking just a different approach to that.
The reason why I was asking, I just wondered, it's just going to be 500,000.
Right.
Every other
It'll
month.
be significantly less than this initial spend. Because the reason this is so much is the development work and the fact that we're having to use their massive compute environment to build it. Once it's built, it actually resides on servers like any other application. And then you can do things like, we could have a standalone at the front door of City Hall and have a greeter that can tell people where to go. And that's just really running on a computer like the one I have at my house, right?
Thank you.
Council, anything else on this topic? Thank you, Rich. We mean that. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
Anyone want to make a motion? I'll wait.
I'll make a motion to, I guess, approve or accept agenda item 8.0 as stated on the agenda.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Tips to approve or accept item 8.0 and a second by place one. Any further questions? Anything else? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes with a 5-0 vote. At this time, I think we will take a short break and then get ourselves back in here, say 10 minutes, guys, and then we'll close out non-consent and be out of the way today. Did you need a break?
No, I needed a little break. Time between our last.
I know, you were on the phone working.
Tom,
Doing what you do best.
get lettuce out of your teeth today?
Yeah.
Move on through our non-consent agenda. Appreciate all you guys coming back. I think we're making fairly good time, 4:40. Have you out of here before you know it. We're going to start with item 9A, consideration of a resolution approving the proposed budget for AEDC. And we don't have anyone coming up here to give a presentation. What we have done over the last couple weeks is we as a council have come together and we've decided that the best thing for us is to really take our time and not just move through the budget in 3 days and just go on with it. We've gotten through roughly half of our departments in the 3 days that we've allotted. We've called ourselves back for a special meeting next week for another 2 days, and then we think it'll take another 2 days after that. Well, a large part of our budget is the AEDC, and I've had the privilege of working with them for the last 2 years, and I've been, on some ride-alongs and gone and looked at some things, and I have some good firsthand knowledge of how things operate over there. My fellow council hasn't had that opportunity, so we felt like it was a little unfair to ask this seated council to vote for a budget that they didn't really understand what all they were spending the money on, how it was functioning, what's a good deal, what's not, how does the internal workings really work out there. And so in a conversation with Mr. Carter, he said, I'm fine. We're good with coming through the budget process. We invited them to our budget process next Thursday. They're going to be able to give a presentation. It'll give us an opportunity to relate a little bit better, also to meet your board if they can come. We want to work very well with that board. Let them get to know us to get to know them. So I feel like we're dating here a little bit before we go get married, and that's okay because we're going to be married to this budget for a minute. So what I'm going to ask is I'm going to ask if I could have a council member move to table this item so that it'll come up on the next agenda, and that'll give us next week to work this through our special session.
Yes, Mayor, I move to table item 9A on the non-consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion to table that from Councilman Kraft and a second from Councilman Sherlin. Does anyone have any discussion on this item before we table that?
One thing I would say, and I'm glad we're doing this, because I think going through the budget sessions on the city side have helped us tremendously in just getting up to speed, because I think going through a budget can really do that. And one of the things in the city budgeting, and Kevin, just for this, not only the budget for this year, but what would provide some perspective is kind of what got us up to this point today. So trends or differences or those types of things, I think that would be beneficial too, because sometimes when you just see a number standing alone, that doesn't really mean anything. So if we could look at maybe what our trends have been for the last several years, I think that's been particularly helpful in just seeing what the trends the city faces, and also just kind of how that's working for you, I think would be really beneficial too. Yes, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, we appreciate the AEDC and your willingness to come through and kind of go through the process with us being new. So no further discussion on this. I would ask all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that item will be tabled for the next one in a 5-0 vote. We have both folks here for our next item, 9B. It's a consideration of a purchase for a concession trailer for the Santa Fe Depot Pavilion. Bo, if you don't mind running that down for us.
You bet, Mayor, Council. This purchase item is for the new pavilion at the Santa Fe Depot. Nice new 60,000 square foot covered event space over on Grant. And we're going to have that new grand opening dated on August 11th, so please be there if you can. The concession trailer allows us the opportunity and gets us running much quicker on being able to provide concession services at that facility. We've already had many discussions with some promoters and some events that are upcoming, some concert promoters as well that are showing some interest in being over there. There's no other way for us to provide concessions at that location at this time. This concession trailer is completely decked out with all types of cooking, refrigeration, preparation equipment, and it's set and ready to go. It can either operate off a generator or it can hook directly up to the power that's sourced there at the pavilion, and our concessionaire, our contracted concessionaire, can step into that, stock it, prepare many of the menu items that they offer at the Civic Center, can offer it on site. And this would also allow us to contain the concession aspect on that property without people having to leave the property to go get something and then come back. It provides convenience. It's definitely a revenue source for us. And there have been some ideas floated out there about various other means of providing concessions or food items at that facility. That's all well and good. With our concession contract that we have in place, it is a definite revenue driver for our department. And to go with alternate means of providing those services takes that revenue source away from us. So we can quickly and easily capture what it costs for us to buy this concession trailer once that thing starts.
Bo, I have
Yes, sir.
a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
When I was visiting with you yesterday, and Mr. Danforth was there as well,
Yes, sir.
y'all mentioned that y'all were going to have to build a building there on the east side. Was it 8 by 40 or something like that? Is that correct?
I believe Jerry indicated it was 40 by 100.
Okay, 40
Yes, sir.
by 100. And you had to have that to be able to serve alcoholic beverages to meet state law. Is that correct?
That building is its primary source, and the most square footage of it is used for restroom facilities for the pavilion. There is a portion of it on one end that will be dressed out as a bar service, being able to serve alcoholic drinks.
It won't be.
Many of the events that we have would desire and want a bar. It is my understanding that Texas Alcoholic and Beverage Corporation's rules state that you've got to have 4 walls and a foundation along with other amenities and services to be able to mix drinks or serve alcohol.
It won't be able to serve food, but it would serve as a beverage service facility.
But why
Beverages and
couldn't you
restrooms.
build something at the other end of this building to do that? I mean, to me, a trailer is a short-term solution to a long-term problem. If you build something, you're going to have it there from now on. I guarantee you, if you build it, you could probably build it for the same money you're talking about buying a trailer.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the cost. Jerry can give you the cost. The cost would be substantial. We'd have to have grease traps, and really the mayor can probably speak to that too. But this is not a food service. This would not be a food service facility, because to make it food service, it would really up the cost a lot. This would just be on the east side of the facility. This is not the food service trailer. This would be beverage service and restroom facility only. So,
but you could.
No, we couldn't. Not the way we're envisioning it. If we wanted to add to price, we could make it food service, but there's a different construction.
I personally, I don't see how I can vote for a trailer. I mean, that's just my opinion. The rest of these men, when we have our vote, will determine. But
let me ask, because I'm following you on money well spent. So, $80,000 for a trailer. You're going to be able to utilize that to sell food. What does your upcoming schedule look like, for what we'll say is the rest of the good season here?
It's a little difficult to say at this time because prior to our grand opening, we really have not had this facility online and offered as a rentable facility yet. We were waiting for the certain elements of the construction phases to be completed, which at this point in time, except for the restroom and the bar facility, it is complete. It is about ready to go.
My head is more in the way of, if I spent $80,000 on a trailer, is that trailer worth $60,000? Next year, does it get me through what our needs would be now while we design and then build? Because I do know the overall goal over there is to build some nice restrooms and build a facility that can have food service as well as beverage service. So I've been pleased to see the activity that our community has wanted to put in that facility.
You bet.
And so I think you have a marketability there, but I'm also with my councilman here. I don't want to go spend $80,000 and then park that guy, because we built something better and nicer. If I hear what you're saying, am I hearing you say, like, if you had the time, we would build something and spend more money to get where we want to end up?
I think at the end of the day, you could take your $80,000 you got here, add some more money with it, and you would have a permanent foundational type of building that could be used for decades to come. A trailer's viability its life expectancy is not that long. Do you have a life expectancy on what a trailer would be?
I think I look at it a little bit differently. I look at it in the respect that with the trailer, it can be built and we can have it on hand within 2.5 months, ready to start generating revenue. Whereas with this facility that will be going in for the restrooms and the bar service, if it were to be expanded and developed on to where you could do full concessions in it, right now under its current plan, I believe the build time is like 6 months.
How would we, if we over there and we have this trailer up and operational within 2 months or whatever, where are they going to go to the bathroom if they use the drinks and all this stuff? I mean, to me, we're getting the cart a little bit before the horse here.
Yeah, there's going to be some blue rockets on site for the first few events, I'm afraid, until that other facility is built. But
Bo, can I ask you, with the concessions, I've got a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Like, what volume of food and beverage, and I know it's a different percentage, right, for food and beverage, but like, how much roughly would we have to do to recoup, to profit that $80,000?
Well, let's put it this way. Our current concession contract has us receiving a minimum of $400,000 a year in fees or percentages
currently
from our concessionaire. We just completed the last 2-year extension on that agreement. Currently, this current budget year, with 2 months left to go, we're over $504,000 realized in income from concessions, so food and beverage and alcohol. You can see one event, something popular like a Dwight Yoakam concert that we've got coming up on September 1. We could easily realize $15,000 revenue.
That's not at the pavilion.
I'm sorry?
That's not at the pavilion.
No,
sir.
it's the Civic Center, yeah.
So what I'm asking is, because we're not going to necessarily affect the concession sales for the Civic Center or the other venues, right? I mean, this is going to be over and on top of. So we make an $80,000 expenditure. What increase? And I get the contract says it's a minimum of $400,000. What would you foresee? And I mean, I don't know if it's doable. That's what I'm asking. What volume of food and beverage sales do we have to increase? I don't care about what's already done, because we can never buy this trailer again, and we're still going to do $500,000.
Right.
Makes no difference. So for this, I mean, to invest another $80,000, what's it going to take for us to revenue that and get it to wash? I mean, is that a fair question, or are you like, man, I don't know?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't have a true answer for you.
Okay. So with our contract with our concessionaire, if someone books that pavilion, can they have food trucks come? I mean, are they locked into using our concessionaire? If they're using our facility, which is under the Civic Center, right?
Correct.
That pavilion's underneath the Civic Center umbrella. Are they locked into using our concessionaire, or can they bring their own food? I mean, can they have somebody else cater it? Because I know that we do that in the Civic Center.
We do that in the Civic Center on private events, not public events per se.
Okay.
That is a possibility. Our current concession contract does stipulate and gives rights to that concessionaire for all food and beverage services on Civic Center property.
So it's exclusive.
Yes.
If it's a public event, they get first right to provide.
And of course, when it comes to the alcohol component, they've got the liquor license for the property, and nobody else can come on site and serve alcohol.
They can't. A TABC bartender can't.
And even private events, we do not allow them to bring in and serve their own alcohol. They have to go through the concessionaire.
So it's a contractual deal that they can't. So the trailer would open up alcohol sales, is what you're saying?
The trailer would not provide alcohol sales.
So we could still provide alcohol sales without the trailer?
We've got to build the building.
I believe that I would have to depend upon my friends at Environmental Health on that, but I believe that they could serve bottled product.
Okay.
That is ready to go and consume. You cannot mix and pour.
Okay. So the build on this trailer, you said it's about 2.5 months. So that puts us about October?
2.5 months build on it, so yeah.
About October. So then we're looking at pavilions kind of shutting down, weather-wise. I mean, it depends. It could snow in October, or it could be 100 degrees.
Well, actually we've got an agreement in principle with the Amarillo Wranglers to bring in a portable ice-making system and set it up in this pavilion for 2 weeks at the latter part of December for outdoor ice skating. I've talked with Beth Duke with Center City. She's got a Christmas market that she's going to do on December 2nd, and those two projects might marry up together. It might be a very entertaining thing, but we cannot offer concessions of any type if we don't have any means to do so.
Thank you.
Does Corkscrew Foods, that's who the contract is with, correct?
Yes, sir.
So do they not have their own
No.
food truck or anything?
No.
Or trailer?
No, they do not.
If it was that good a deal, why wouldn't your contractor that leases the facility buy the trailer?
Probably the fact that the pavilion generated so quickly, was built so quickly and expanded, that they would not have that capital means to put into it themselves for only a 2-year extension to the current agreement.
Well, I really don't see us putting that kind of money in, getting, what'd you say, 38% return? Or what is the return on food concessions?
Food and beverage, we get 32% of their sales post-tax, and alcohol, we get 43.5%.
So we get 32%. So payback on that trailer is going to be...
It will take a little while, but I would certainly imagine that within the year's time that's taken care of.
Okay.
Well, let's run those numbers. It's not that hard to do. So you got 35%, 40%. Let's just project the weekend market or the ice skating rink for 2 weeks. Do you think you can run $10,000 through that concession trailer?
10,000 gross, maybe.
Okay. So, because what I'm looking at, and I have very minimal food experience, but I do know that these nice food trailers are hard to get and they're expensive, and there's a market for them on the used market for sure. It's not anything that we would be purchasing that we couldn't resell.
Correct.
So I am looking at not necessarily trying to recoup the $80,000, but I am construction oriented as well. And I can tell you, if you said, hey, let's get our plans together, let's run this through council, and then put a building up over there that does everything we're going to need it to do. And I think, I think I know where Councilman Sherlin's going, is that's money better spent for us in the long term.
Correct.
However, if you could rent this, I think you'd spend more in renting this trailer than if you owned it and resold it. I think your ROI on this trailer is not a bad ROI, as long as you have events over there. And then I've been pretty pleased in seeing who's wanting to go over there and the events that you can have. So I would like to assume or estimate that you could spend $80,000 on this trailer, work it for 6 to 8 months, 9 months, and recoup, hopefully half of that amount, and then turn around and sell this thing for more than 50 cents on the dollar, with it being food and beverage.
And out of all the experience that I've come about by trying to investigate these trailers, they're not sitting there on a lot somewhere ready to sell the way we're looking at it with the equipment that we need in this trailer. They have to be built specifically for this purpose. So that's why it's taking so many months in a lot of these cases to get these things built. Some of the manufacturers I talked to, it's 4 to 6 months before they can get you this trailer built into you. So
let me ask this, and maybe this would be for the city attorney to answer. So we're certain, because this is a new facility that's just now opening.
Yes, sir.
So when the contract with the current provider was the concession provider, does that contract account for anything new we would build, or is that just the existing, what we already had? I mean, are we truly contractually obligated to use the current contractor to do the concessions at the pavilion?
Let me give an answer that might preempt Mr. McWilliams. First of all, when we did the 2-year extension, of course, the original agreement signed in 2017 indicated the Globe News Center and the Amarillo Civic Center, because that's all the property we had. The pavilion didn't come up till about a year ago. So with the 2-year extension that we just executed, we put the verbiage in there for the pavilion at the Santa Fe Depot as well. So it's covering all of the property of the Amarillo Civic Center, and that also lends to their host liability, their liquor liability license.
We're in that contract now?
Yes.
Did the council approve that contract?
I believe it was just an extension of an existing contract.
Do we know that?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, we're in a current valid contract period. I don't know when it was approved. You know, Bo?
I'm sorry?
We're in a current valid contract period.
Yes.
I just don't recall exactly when it was
We're in
approved.
the last 2 years of that agreement, so, and then it will go out for an RFP again.
So we're on the last year of that agreement?
Last 2 years.
Last 2 years.
And I think the other thing I'm just trying to get a grasp on how many events we do have versus how many we think we can have. So because I mean, if we're making this type of investment, I'm just making sure that we don't invest this money and then all these events that we think we're going to have may not show up. And I'm not doubting that those ideas sound good, but I'm just making sure that if we invest this money, and then also I guess my other question would be, and thinking about recouping the cost, as you're talking to these people, what do you think is a factor of someone having their event there if it doesn't have a concession there? I mean, is that do you think people will still figure it out, or is it something that would help us attract more, a significant amount of events that could also help pay for the trailer?
I think it would make it far more difficult to have interest in the facility if we cannot offer some of those amenities to it. Aside from the revenue that we might make from the concessionaire out of this project, we know that we're challenged a little bit with the lack of restrooms and so on at this time, but that plan is in place, and hopefully within 6 months those amenities will be there. But right now we can't serve food and beverage, so it would make it very difficult to get people interested.
So just to be clear, if we don't do the trailer and these events that are coming up, the Christmas deal, the Wranglers ice game, all that, you just can't have food. They can't bring anybody on site. Like, they don't have the option to bring any food on site.
I believe that there's probably some clarity in the agreement that allows some negotiation event by event between the Civic Center manager
and
the concessionaire to allow for some opportunities there.
We're not sure. I mean, we might not. So maybe we could redo, and I don't know, Brian might speak to this, even redo that contract, that if a patron wanted to host an event or even a public event, we could charge a little extra if they brought their own food, because we're going to miss out on those concessions. So we could redo the contract, say, okay, use our concessions, it's this, if we have the option. Or if you bring food on, we're going to charge you an extra $1,000, whatever. I mean, is that possible?
We would have to.
Anything's negotiable.
Okay.
But you have to have parties that are willing to do it.
Okay, all right.
And we've got an executed extension.
Okay, so
agreement as it is.
So they could bring food on. We're not sure if with them, but
And it's just like you pointed out earlier. We do have private events at the Civic Center of wedding reception or whatnot. We let them do their food. We don't. There is no charge for that.
Right.
At this time. But for public events,
it makes us more marketable if we can provide those and maybe attract some other venues to the pavilion. Okay, thank you.
And Mayor, I get what I thought what you were saying, I think, and just make sure I get that, we could purchase this, and then if it goes gangbusters and really we need something more than a trailer, we need a facility, we have a trailer that has some kind of value that we could recoup. Is that, or did I?
No, I think you're good. I think if we built a good facility, permanent facility over there, we've parked this trailer, we don't have a need for it, then there's a resale for this trailer. It has some value. It didn't go to zero. So in the $80,000 expense, how much are we willing to expend in order to help our marketing, service these events, and then how much of that can we make back, after everything, and then is there an ROI on the trailer? I mean, I think so, but once again, I've had a little bit of food experience in the difficulties to go out and purchase something like this, so I think it's a good
If I can throw
item.
one more thought in there to you on this. Of course, we recently had the Red Cross shelter at the Civic Center and the 2 exhibit halls for the residents over in the Paramount area that were flooded out of their apartments. For a short period of time there, the Lions Club came in with their concession that I don't think they called it a catering trailer. Theirs was a fifth wheel trailer. Ours isn't. Ours is a bumper pull. And it was built almost exactly like the one that we're wanting to build, other than the fact the one that I'm projecting has a 23 cubic square foot refrigerator and a 23 cubic foot freezer. Theirs had a large walk-in freezer in the north end. Other than that, it was identical. They had just gotten theirs, and that was the first event that they've used that for. They paid $150,000 for it, and it took them over a year to get it.
Wow.
So, $80,000.
And we've negotiated this price, and we already have somebody, a supplier that would
Yes,
build
it has
provide.
gone out to bid, and this was the winning bid.
Anything further, Councilman?
Well, I just think one thing is, I mean, you can look at it 2 different ways. I mean, one is we're paying this initial money, and we don't, I mean, we think it's going to be successful, but we don't know. But the other, it's an investment where instead of spending a lot more to build a permanent facility, and then if it's not as successful, then we have spent a lot of money to build a permanent facility when maybe we didn't need to do that. But the trailer could be a happy medium, particularly if we have something left. If it's so popular that the trailer can't handle crowds, or we just say there's a need to have a bigger one, we've got a pretty valuable commodity here that we could sell to recoup the balance of it, and it's serving something. I guess in my mind, I'm just saying, okay, I hear a lot of good things. It seems like it's really going to work, but how many signed contracts do we have? That's what I'm kind of looking at to see, okay, do we have enough signed contracts where we say this investment is a no-brainer, or it's a chicken and egg kind of thing, okay? If we have this concession stand, we'll have more chickens. So that's what I'm just trying to kind of get a gauge on.
Actually, this is kind of the feed you put out for the chickens.
Got it. Literally.
It draws them in.
Yeah.
He did get me. That was a good analogy. Any other discussion from this side?
No, my last question would be was this something that was budgeted for in the beginning, or is this kind of an afterthought?
We had, I wouldn't say necessarily that it was an afterthought. We did have capital funds that had been approved for some other projects, that some of those were waning down, and there were overages. We also still had our funds from our shuttered venue operators grant that were in place for us to be able to utilize for certain purchases and so on. And so that's the funding source for these items. We're not asking for new capital money. This is just approval of expending this money for this activity.
How much do we have in overage in that account over there?
The shuttered venue operators grant has pretty well been spent down at this point, mainly for activities at the pavilion and doing some of the stuff that we were doing over there. So.
Well, as I look around the room and I see some faces, that have expressions on them. I for one am pretty thankful. Like, this is $80,000. You know, that's a large amount of money in your household budget. It is not a large amount of money when you're talking about the city organization on the dollar amount. And when we are whipping this horse right here because we want to make sure that we're spending every dollar well, and I appreciate that. And I mean, I may be sitting up here with a couple no votes on a trailer. I don't mind it. You know, like if we can get there, what I'm looking for is an ROI. I'm not against spending money. I'm just against spending money that I threw away because I needed to spend more. Sure. And I think that this is something that gets me. I'm buying a little bit of time, but I'd sure like to have the confidence in knowing that you can spend this $80,000 and it's still going to have a property value to it when you're done with it. You can resell it, and that you can go out there and you can turn tacos out of this guy. Mm-hmm. And I think you can. I think it hurts you to not have it, you know. So I may be a little more in favor of it, but I get the pull up here, and I like it. So all I'm saying is I'm thankful, and I know it's only $80,000, but like it matters. But it matters for you and your team as well, you know, that we're supporting you. So I'm not really giving a sales pitch on it as much as I'm just patting ourselves on the back up here for belaboring this item. I'm probably looking for some leadership from council on where you guys are going to want to go.
Well, I would go ahead and make a motion to approve the purchase of the trailer for the Santa Fe Depot Pavilion in the amount of $79,795.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion from Councilman Simpson, a second from Councilman Tips. We don't need to vote just yet. Where are we on this, and what would be our reservation here in voting for this? Do we have any?
A reservation in
Yeah.
voting for it?
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree with Councilman Simpson. I think it's a great test run to see if this really works without too big of an investment, because we have an asset that's going to retain value that we can actually recoup. So before we build a permanent building, I think it's a good way to, are people going to use the pavilion and eat? If they are, great, we can move forward. Tell this, put that towards the proceeds of maybe a permanent building. That's what I like.
Okay. Any other discussion? Just not trying to move past it too quick.
I'll disagree with it completely. I think we're getting the cart before the horse. I think you're going to have to build a permanent foundation with bathrooms anyway. Mm-hmm. I don't think by the time we get this thing in October, and it probably won't be here in October, probably be more like November.
We'll cross our fingers.
But you're going into winter. I would rather see us do something, we'll know a little bit more how the pavilion's going to be used. I mean, a year ago at this time, thanks to Mayor Stanley, he made it a sellable product, to be truthful, because it was originally built to be a horse barn, and it was going to have dirt floors and all this other stuff, and the mayor took it to the position it is today, that it is a sellable business unit. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why. I mean, a month or two back, you were here asking for 2,000 chairs. And to be truthful, you want 2,000 more chairs. So where do we put the thumb in the dam to stop the flow? And I think we just need to slow it down a little bit and see where we're at. Well, we got a motion on the floor in a second, so we're up to a vote.
That's a good discussion. No, I'm still allowing discussion. So, like, I hear what you're saying. I guess when we had this building and we were talking about making it taller and multifunction use, I understand that's a good move. It made the building just a little bit more expensive, but it made the cost of this greater, meaning I knew we were going to have facilities you're going to need. We're going to need concrete floors. I mean, we weren't just going to make the building taller and leave the dirt and lease it. So I saddled up knowing we needed to invest in this. What I've seen is a good marketability from you guys where you have a venue out there that people want to use. So I'm in for investing in it more so than I am on pulling back. I think Councilman Sherlin is as well. Long term, I just think he, you may be knee-jerking a little bit in like, we hadn't seen any money come in yet, and I'm still investing. So I hear where you're at. Any other discussion?
I would say, I sit here and just weigh it as an investment. And I think the case you made and the things you've talked about, we could not make the investment. Again, it's $80,000, and we've have money set aside to do some type of capital project. So I think I feel comfortable with making that investment to help, because we've invested a whole lot of more money in that pavilion. Yeah. And not that this is any, but I can kind of see and navigate through this to think that this would be an amenity that could provide a lot of benefit in trying to recruit. So I think that's kind of how, and I was on the fence about it as well, trying to figure out another way to do it, or is there another way that we can do it? But anyway, I just see it as an investment that I think could pay off for us in the long run. So.
Anything further?
No, like I said, my only concern was, not knowing exactly what type of events are going to be in there, having an idea of how many we're going to have before we invest more money. But I see the benefit of it, so that's where I stand.
Okay. All right.
Mayor, point of order. May I get a restatement of the motion that's on the floor to make
Sure.
sure I have it right?
Yeah.
I move to approve the purchase of the concession trailer for Santa Fe Depot Pavilion for the amount of $79,795.
Thank you, Councilmember Simpson.
Second by Councilman Tips, I believe. Okay. If we're good here, then we'll call it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So we have a 4-1 vote on that. Motion passes.
Thank you.
I appreciate the discussion. Moving along to item 9C. Replacement for seating for Amarillo Globe News. Bo, you're not going anywhere because that one's you as well. So tee it up and let us know what we
Mind if I
have.
take a seat?
Now, if you needed another break.
Yeah. Well, this is the replacement of the pit seating at the Globe News Center for the Performing Arts. That facility was opened in '06. It's been in operation for 17 years now. Of course, we cannot purchase the same design seating anymore. That was custom made for that facility. We are only talking about the 77 or so seats that actually are removable, that sit on the hydraulic pit that sometimes is in the floor position for more audience seating, or it goes down to the lower level to load stuff onto the stage, or it's up to the stage level for the performance to be out. Councilman Sherlin gave me an opportunity to show him the issues that we're dealing with on these seats yesterday, and
went by there, looked at it, and I agree with you 100% on that.
What?
You don't believe that?
Well, that sounds like a yes vote to me right there.
I can see the actual need there, and it's definitely a public safety deal.
Okay.
Yeah, the original design, it's kind of worn out, the wood structure underneath the stage surface, to where it's just got concern. We don't want a row of seats to decide to let go during a show, and you're back in the lap of those behind you. The seats that we're replacing with are aesthetically complementary to the house. They're very nice and comfortable. They're a folding type seat. The current screw-in seats that we have, it takes 6 stagehands, a couple of hours, and a lot of back-breaking work to bring those up, strap them on, take them off whenever we're done. These others, a couple of people could get it done in 30 minutes. It's just a no-brainer.
Okay, thank you, Bo. Any questions, council?
No, sir.
No.
I'll make a motion we accept 9C as stated in the agenda.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from place 3, a second from place 1 to accept item 9C. We have any other discussion on this one? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes with a 5-0 vote.
Mayor, can I ask one more question before
Yes, sir.
Bo leaves? Is that okay? Anything else on the horizon in the Globe News Center that's going to need to be replaced, since she's about 17 years old? And I mean, is there any other things that are just getting worn or needing to be replaced in the future?
Not really seeing.
We had an issue over there, but outside of that.
Yes, outside of the flood reparations from the Christmas Eve flood, everything is in pretty good shape. There may be some sound component issues or whatnot that'll need to be addressed in the next year or two, but I think the facility is still in pretty good shape, and facilities does a great job in maintaining it, and our staff takes a good amount of care of that facility as well as all of our others.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Appreciate you being here.
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to our last item, item 9D. We have Mr. Floyd Hartman here to explain this one.
Mayor, Council, Floyd Hartman, Assistant City Manager. Yes, this item is a consideration of purchase of 2.09 acres in vicinity of 2600 Linda Lane. As you can see on the screen here, this is 2.09 acres adjacent to what we call Lawrence Lake. It has a tremendous benefit to our recent challenges related to flooding in the area. We did get an appraisal on this property. It appraised at $375,000. The owner, Olson Office Warehouse, has agreed to this purchase of $375,000. City staff is recommending this approval. Some things that this would open up, this opens up an opportunity for a couple of projects to move forward over at Lawrence Lake. But this purchase, if we chose to excavate in this area, you could see that you could actually reduce the floodplain in about approximately 2 feet in that area. The actual flooding that occurred recently in the 2023 flood, it would have lowered that flooding level by 5 inches. That project's estimated cost of $4 million, and we'll be bringing those back to you in budget discussions. It also provides the opportunity for a permanent pump site, a larger pump site. We've learned that there is an opportunity for a larger pump. That includes the construction of a force main and discharge to that West Amarillo Creek. That is a $4.5 million project to complete those. But the acquisition of this property is essential for those benefits in that flooding area. This one has probably the easiest public need that I've ever walked to this podium to describe. Okay, most of the time I have those other needs. Are there questions? City staff is recommending approval of this item.
Anyone want to go first?
Can you go back to that next slide?
Yes. Oh, there you go.
So we're looking at roughly, we get that land, $8.5 million. That'll include putting in the pump and excavation of all that.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be those identified projects out of the flooding event that we would identify beyond a couple of others. The Bennett, moving the Bennett force main would be another one we recommend in that process, and then the Playa 7 pumps. But we'll be bringing those discussions to you in the workshop in the budget.
Thanks, Floyd.
Floyd, with the additional volume here, would you need to move Bennett off of this to a direct force main, or would you be able to leave this if you take both of those projects and you get to the West Amarillo Creek?
The purchase of this could reprioritize those projects. Leaving Bennett to pump to this location with this larger pump project benefits both lakes. Mm-hmm. Now, we'll talk about those potential benefits and the cost related to those. So yes, you could leave Bennett pumping to this with the addition of that. And remember, we had all 3 pumps, the 2 permanent pumps and that TxDOT pump pumping, and that gave us significant improvement in Lawrence Lake over what we currently have. So you would still see significant improvement in Lawrence, leaving Bennett pumping to that. So that would be an option to talk about.
Okay.
It could deprioritize the Bennett force main and allow us to focus on this.
Any potential grant funding?
Working on those. I found one I was really excited about, and then Emily found out it was for rural.
Oh.
So we didn't qualify for the rural. I offered to buy a cow, but that doesn't work.
I like it.
So can you go back to that map for a second?
Nope. I always go the wrong way.
So when we look at, so one option of increasing the capacity, I guess we're talking about, is purchasing this land, excavating it out.
Yes.
What other options do we have of increasing the capacity of this lake?
Not much. The city already owns a piece of property over on the east side. There has been a strategy in the water master plan to buy property adjacent to this so that it matches the strategy within the master plan. When they excavated this lake in the 80s, when they excavated down, they actually hit groundwater. So even excavating under the groundwater, you have a groundwater level and you don't create additional capacity. So the only real capacity expansion is to the side.
So that piece of land that we own there, I mean, could it be excavated out as well? Or?
It could, but it's so small that you wouldn't see much benefit, and it hasn't been a cost-effective project to move forward. There are some easements over there on that side, and that actually serves as a parking lot to the Clarendon College campus at this point.
And then the $375,000, where's that money coming from?
From our drainage E&I out of the capital.
Okay,
So that is that account where we do pumps or other urgent needs. At the time that we budgeted this, there was about $900,000 left, so we would use $375,000, and there would be some left.
This is the drainage utility fee that I pay is helping purchase this. Okay.
Yes. This is direct benefit from the drainage utility in that capital.
Councilman?
I'm good.
Nothing? This side?
All good, sir.
Good.
Okay. Floyd, thank you. I think we have what we need. Entertain a motion on item 9D, please.
Yeah, I move to approve the purchase of item 9D. I guess for the amount of $375,000.
A second.
Okay. I have a motion from place 2, a second from place 1. Any further discussion on this one? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's our last and final item. It passes with a 5-0 vote. I appreciate everyone for hanging in there with us here today and being a part of our meeting. You guys have a great afternoon.
You got to have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, that's right. I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I move to adjourn the meeting for the day.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
You're adjourned.